Now we're on Daf Lamed Daled Amid Beitz. Ton Rabbanim. We learned in a brisa. Litotafos, litotafos, litotafos. So the way the Gemara presents it twice in the Torah, it's written without a vav, the last vav before the tav, and once it's written with a vav before the tav. Okay, this is a big deal because it's not so, but that's the simple reading of the Gemara. Harekat arba, meaning what we're going to do is we're going to take the vav between the pei and the tuf that appears only once, and that's going to give us two, and we have another two totafos, and we get four. So now we have four parshios. There are four batim, and in each bias, each compartment of the tefillin shel rosh is going to have a parsha, and that's divrei Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Eino tzarich. I don't need this whole drasha. The word letotafos itself will teach me that you need four compartments. Why? Because tat, the word tat, is a word in Kaspi, in a country called Kaspi, and it means shtayim. And now we take the second part of the word totafos, and that's pas. And pas, biafriki, in the African nations, means shtayim. So we have totafos is shtayim and shtayim. 2 plus 2 is the four compartments of the tefillin. Shall he write the four parshios on four hides, basically on four separate parchments, and then he puts each one in one of the different batim. The arba oros, right? Because he said that the tefillin is written on four hides, four different pieces of leather, and now he's saying that the batim themselves that will house the parshios will also be made of four different hides. This is all a havamina. Talmud Lomar, we learn from the pasuk Zikaron. Zikaron is in singular. Beinei necha. Zikaron echad amarti lecha v'lo shnayim u'shlosha zikronos. So ketzad. So I don't get it. On the one hand, we say we need four compartments, four parshios, so four different pieces of hides. And on the other hand, we're saying Zikaron is only one. And the Gemara says we have to reconcile this by saying Kosvan al arba oros umenicham bi arba batim bi'ar echad. That means that the parchments on which the parshios are written are four different parshios, four different parchments. But the four batim are made out of one or. This is the famous picture that we have, that they have if you go or you watch the video, it's one single hide that's made into four bat, right? It's they separate it into four batim from one piece of hide. Now the Bryce says him if he wrote all four parshios on one shtickle or one hide, and he was somehow was able to separate them into four batim, which is that takes a skill. Yotza, he fulfilled the mitzvah, but sarach shei revach beinehem divrei Rebbe. Okay, you have a requirement that to be a space between the batim. V'chachamim omrim eino tzarich. You don't have to leave a space between the batim. Shavin, shenot, they all agree, shenosein chut o meshicha bein kol achas v'achas, that he puts a thin thread or a meshicha. Meshicha is also a kind of a cord between each and every bias. In other words, the four batim have to be separated one from the other by either a chut or a meshicha. V'im ein charitzim nikar. right? There's a groove, a chritz between each one of the four compartments. And let's say it's not nika. From the outside, you can't see the groove. Is psulos. In other words, it's halacha l'moshe Sinai that you have to have these separations that can be seen between the four different batim, which means one, two, and three. Tana Rabbi learned to the Brisa, Ketzad Kosvan Tefillah Shal Yad Kosval or Echad. Right, all four parshios are written on one continuous cloth for Tefillin Shal Yad. The main thing that's absolutely critical is that all four parshas are put into one bias. There's only one bias in a Tefillin Shal Yad. Tefillin Shal Rosh is four bat. V'tzarech l'dabek. Before you put the, right, in this B'diavad case, which he didn't do the ideal way, but rather he wrote them on four different oros, then what he has to do is he has to connect the four oros which are basically four parchments. Os is singular. Kshem os achas mi bachutz, kach os achas mi bifnim, divrei Rabbi Yehuda. And therefore Rabbi Yehuda requires that he has to do a dibuk, lidabik. He has to do a dibuk. But Rabbi Yossi Omer Nitzach, he doesn't need to dibuk. Let him just put the four parshas into the bias. There's only one bias here in the case of Tefillin Shal Yad, and that's it. Get it. Oh, Rabbi Yossi, Umodali Rabbi Yehuda, Berebi, Shim Ein Lo, Tefillin Shal Yad, V'yesh Lo Shtei Tefillin Shal Rosh, Shetola Or Al Achas Mihen, Umenicha. What happens over here? He only has Tefillin Shel Rosh, which means that it's separated into four compartments. He has two pairs of Tefillin Shel Rosh. Now he wants to wear one pair together with, redirect the second pair of Tefillin Shel Rosh and use it as a Tefillin Shel Yad. But says Rabbi Yossi, he can't do that because there are parchments, the compartments are separated one from the other. And in Tefillin Shel Yad it has to be all together. So Rav Yossi says, and everything depends upon the seer, on the spectator from the outside. When he looks at the tefillin, what does he see here? Does he see, I'm talking about Tefillin Shel Yad, does he see the four compartments separated, or can he cover them over and make it appear as if it's really one single compartment? And that's what Rabbi Yossi allows him to do. He literally drapes a piece of the hide over the Tefillin Shel Rosh. Good, Baruch Hashem. I got scared for over the Tefillin Shel Rosh to make it look like one bias, like a Tefillin Shel Yad has to look. Modeh. What does it say? Modeh li Rabbi Yehuda. What was Modeh mean? Haine Plugtayev. Omar Rav HaMidvar Shel Rabbi Yossi Chazer Bo Rabbi Yehuda. From Rabbi Yossi's words, we are informed that Rabbi Yehuda indeed retracted his opinion, no longer requires that the four parshios be bonded together in the Tefillin Shel Yad. Any is the so of Shalach Rabbi Chananya Mishmei Rabbi Yochanan Tefillin Shel Yad Osen Oso Tefillin Shel Rosh Ein Osen Oso Shel Yad. You cannot convert a Tefillin Shel Rosh into a Tefillin Shel Yad. So what's this business about covering it over and draping it? It's a Tefillin Shel Rosh. You can't use it for a Tefillin Shel Yad. Why? We have a principle: Ein Morida Mikdusha Chamura L'Kedusha Kala, and Tefillin Shel Rosh has a Kedusha Chamura. Rashi says because 2 out of 3 of the letters that make up Shakai, God's name, are in the Tefillin Shel Rosh, because you have the Shin in the Kesher Shel Tefillin. No, I'm sorry. You have the Shin that's inscribed, whatever the word is, embedded on the Tefillin Shel Rosh, and you have a Dalid on the Kesher Shel Tefillin. That's why this double Dalid business, this double Mem, my Rebbe was not a fan of that at all. Anyway, And then you have the Yud, which is in the wrappings around your finger of the
Right.
Tefillin Shel Yad. But two out of three of the letters are in the Tefillin Shel Rosh. So since the Tefillin Shel Rosh have a greater kedusha than Tefillin Shel Yad, you're not allowed to convert the Tefillin Shel Yad into Tefillin Shel Rosh. So in any event, that's a kasha on Rabbi Yossi. Because Rabbi Yossi is saying all you have to do is cover the Tefillin Shel Rosh and make it look like it's one compartment and use it as Tefillin Shel Yad, lo kasha. Ha ba'tikta and ha b'chadita. When was Rabbi Yossi Mekil? When he didn't have what's called Hazmana. Why? Because it was Chadita. So he never ever wore. No, I'm sorry. Leave out the word Hazmana. We'll get to Hazmana in a minute. He never ever wore these Tefillin Shel Rosh on his Rosh. So it never took upon itself the Kedusha of Tefillin Shel Rosh, and therefore he could redirect it and use it as Tefillin Shel Yad. That's Rabbi Yossi. But in a case of an old pair of tefillin that has been used as Tefillin Shel Rosh, it's now imbued with the Kedusha Chamura of Tefillin Shel Rosh, and therefore it cannot be redirected and used as Tefillin Shel Yad. We'll finish up in just a minute. But what are you going to say if you hold Hasmona Milsa? Even if it was Chadita, and he never ever wore it as Tefillin Shel Rosh, it still was designated as a Tefillin Shel Rosh, and it takes on the Kedusha of Tefillin Shel Rosh. And the Gemara answers the Asni Alayu Meikar. Rabbi Yossi was dealing with the case where when he originally created the Tefillin Shel Rosh, he made a stipulation, a Tanai, that if he needs them, he can convert them into Tefillin Shel Yad. And that Tanai is meaningful.
Let's go.
Let's just finish the daf with the Machlokas Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam about the Tefillin Shel Rosh, the Seder of Parshios. Tan Rabbanan Ketzad Sidram. How do you organize the Tefillin, the various Parshios of Tefillin? Kadishli Vayim Kiyim Iviacha Miyamin and Shema V'Hoyim Shemoah Mismol. So Rashi learns that this is a Seder that's written in the Torah. This is a Seder that has to be put into the various batim of the Tefillin Shel Rosh. It's got to be Kadishli V'Hoyim Kiyim Iviacha. Shema and V'Hoyim Shemoah. Obviously, Shema comes before V'Hoyim Shemoah. And that's going to be, according to Rashi, the Seder Parshios. Rabbeinu Tam understands it to be separated to two groups of two. And he agrees with Rashi that Kaddish and V'Hoyim Kiviyach are the first two Parshios. But then when it says over here, Shema V'Hoyim Shemoah Mismol, according to Rabbeinu Tam, you calculate from the left corner, from the extreme left, moving towards the right, from Shema to V'Hoyim Shemoah. Frek the Gemara Vatanya Ibcha, Amar Abaye lo kasha, kan miyamino shel Korei, kan miyamino shel Meiniach, va'Korei Korei kesidron. Amar Rav Chananel, Amar Rav Hichlif Parshioseh Psulos. So that means that the tefillin of Rashi would be psulos for Rabbeinu Tam, and vice versa. The reason is because the Seder is absolutely critical. Okay, this is where we'll stop.